The last time I saw Ebra, she was talking to something inside the mirror. Not her reflection, something else. It blinked when she didn't. It smiled when she was crying. After that night, when my dad married again, I was 14. His new wife had a daughter, Ebra. She was just a year older than me, and from the start, something about her made my skin feel cold. She didn't smile much. Not even during the wedding. She sat at the edge of the church pew, arms crossed, staring at the floor like someone forced her to be there. After the wedding, she moved into our house in Enugu with her mother. My room was small, so they said we would share. I didn't like the idea, but I didn't argue. The first night we slept in the same room, I heard her whispering in her sleep. I thought it was just a dream. Until I sat up and saw her sitting cross-legged on the bed, eyes open, whispering to the corner of the room. Her mouth moved fast, like she was in a hurry. There was no one there. I asked, Ebra, are you okay? She didn't look at me. She just kept whispering, then slowly turned her head and said, don't talk when I'm counting. Counting. I didn't sleep again that night. I just watched her, afraid to blink too long. By morning, she was normal again. Quiet, moody, but not strange. I thought maybe I imagined it. Maybe I was just nervous about this new life. But then more things started happening. Small things at first. My toothbrush disappeared. My bedsheets got torn right down the middle, like someone used a blade. A black feather showed up in my school shoe. Every time I tried to talk to my dad or stepmom, they brushed it off. Maybe rats, my stepmom said. There are no rats that leave feathers, I said. She just smiled like she knew something I didn't. It got worse the day I found my mom's picture under Ebra's pillow. The same picture I kept beside my bed. But someone had scratched out the eyes with something sharp. And on the back, in red pen, someone had written, you took what wasn't yours. I didn't understand. My mother had died 3 years ago. What did she mean? I tried to talk to Ebra about it. I wanted to be brave. I waited till she was alone on the veranda, braiding her hair. Why do you have my mom's picture under your pillow? I asked. She didn't stop braiding. She just said, I didn't take it. But it was there. I said I didn't take it. Then she looked up at me. For the first time, she looked directly into my eyes. And what I saw there made my heart jump. Her eyes didn't look like a girl's eyes. They looked like old, tired, broken glass, sharp and lifeless. She smiled slowly. Maybe she gave it to me. That night, I locked the door. And still, somehow, I woke up with the picture under my own pillow again. But this time, my mother's face was burned. That's when I knew something was wrong with Ebra. Something evil. There was an old mirror in our storeroom that nobody used. It was tall, dusty, and cracked at the top. My dad said it belonged to his grandfather, but no one had cleaned it in years. I used to avoid that room. It smelled like rat pee and forgotten things. One Saturday afternoon, I was looking for an old textbook when I saw the light under the storeroom door. It was on. Nobody ever left the bulb on. I opened the door slowly. Ebra was standing in front of the mirror. Alone. She was wearing a white slip, the kind women wear under their wrapper. Her eyes were closed, and she was rocking side to side. Her fingers were dripping something dark. It took me a second to realize it was palm oil mixed with ashes. She had smeared it on her face like war paint. The worst part. The mirror was moving. Not shaking, but the reflection inside it wasn't doing what Ebra was doing. It moved differently. Slower. Like it was copying her, but behind schedule. Its mouth was open, but Ebra's wasn't. Its eyes were wide, staring at me, even though Ebra's eyes were still shut. I made a small sound, just a breath. The reflection snapped its head toward me like it had it. But Ebra didn't move. Then, her voice came out soft and cold. "Don't come in here." I froze. "How did you know I was here?" I whispered. She opened her eyes and smiled in the mirror. But her back was still facing me. The reflection was grinning now. "Too wide. I always know." She turned around slowly and walked out, brushing past me like nothing happened. Like we didn't just share something terrible. I went to the mirror. I should have left, but I didn't. I needed to see. To be sure. When I looked in, I expected to see myself. But I didn't. What I saw was me, but not me. The girl in the mirror was skinnier, with deep shadows under her eyes and something crawling in her hair. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Then she lifted her finger and scratched something on the inside of the mirror. It looked like a word. "Run." I ran out of the storeroom and locked the door behind me. That night, I told my dad what I saw. He slapped me. "You don't speak evil about your sister," he said. "She's not my sister," I cried. "She is now," he said, and walked out. Nobody believed me. But I knew what I saw. I wasn't safe anymore. 2 nights after the mirror, I woke up coughing. The room was filled with smoke. Not thick smoke like fire, but the kind that burns your nose and makes your throat dry. I sat up and looked around. Ebra was gone. My window was still shut. The door was open just a crack. I got up and stepped into the hallway. The smoke was coming from the kitchen. I rushed there, afraid something had caught fire, but there was no fire. Just a small iron pot on the floor, filled with black herbs and something oily burning slowly. And Ebra, sitting cross-legged in front of it, whispering again. The room smelled like burnt hair and bitter leaves. I stood there for a while, just watching her. Her lips were moving fast. She was holding a piece of cloth in her hand. When she opened it, I saw it clearly. It was my mother's scarf. Her old brown scarf. The one she always wore on Sundays. I had kept it hidden in my box. How did Ebra find it? "Ebra," I said, my voice shaking. She didn't stop. "Ebra, give me that." She turned her head slowly. Her face was covered in sweat. Her eyes were red like someone who hadn't slept in days. "I'm helping her rest," she said. "Who?" "Your mother." Then she dropped the scarf into the burning pot. I screamed and ran to grab it, but she held my wrist tightly. "She's tired. Let her go." I pushed her off and used the end of a towel to pull out the scarf. It was almost all burnt. I held it to my chest and cried. Ebra didn't move. She just watched me like I was the crazy one. When my dad came out, he asked what happened. I told him. Again. He looked at the pot, looked at me, then said nothing. Just walked back to bed. I was shaking with anger. That night, I didn't sleep. I stayed up with my scarf beside me, listening to Ebra breathe like nothing happened. In the morning, I saw something new on the wall above my bed. A mark. Small, round, and drawn in ash. I tried to wipe it off, but it didn't go. It stayed there like a stain. That was when I decided. I needed to know what Ebra was doing. I needed to find out the truth, even if it scared me. Because if I didn't stop her, I knew she was going to destroy everything. I started hiding a small torch under my pillow. Every night, I stayed awake longer than Ebra. I watched her sleep, if you could call it that. She didn't move much. Her eyes stayed half open sometimes, like she was waiting. 3 nights after the burning pot, I heard her talking in her sleep again. This time, it wasn't whispers. It was full sentences. But it wasn't her voice. It was deeper. Male. Old. I sat up and turned on my torch, pointing it at her face. Her mouth was moving, but the voice that came out didn't match. It said, "She doesn't know what she touched. She brought me here." I froze. Then it said, "She looked into the mirror. She opened the door." Ebra's hand started twitching. Her body jerked like something was pulling strings under her skin. I called her name. "Ebra. Wake up." She sat up fast, like someone pushed her from behind. Her eyes locked onto mine. Wide. Terrified. She was breathing hard. Then she said something I didn't expect. "Help me." "What?" I asked, still holding the torch. She grabbed my arm. "I can't stop it. I thought it would help me. I just wanted her to live." "Your mother." I didn't want to share my life. Or my house. Or my dad. I pulled away from her. "You did something to her. Didn't you?" Ebra didn't answer. She just started crying. I wanted to be angry, to scream at her, but the fear in her eyes was real. She was scared. Like something bigger than her had gone out of control. "I didn't know it would stay," she whispered. "It said it would leave after." "It lied." "What is it?" She looked at the window. "I can't say its name. That's how it comes." That night, she stayed up and sat in the corner of the room, rocking and praying. Real praying this time, not that creepy counting stuff. She whispered Psalm 91 over and over like her life depended on it. I didn't sleep either. At 3 a.m., something scratched the door. Not a rat. Not a knock. A slow, steady scratch. Like claws dragging down the wood. We both stared at the door, not moving, not breathing. Then we heard it. A voice, soft and low. Calling both our names. "Mo. Ebra." We didn't open the door. By morning, the scratch marks were gone. But we both saw them. After that night, the house changed. I don't know how to explain it well. It just felt wrong. The walls were too quiet. The air felt thicker, like breathing inside a bag. Even my dad started acting strange. He looked tired all the time. Like something was sucking the life out of him. He stopped shaving. Stopped talking much. Just sat outside most days, staring into nothing. When I asked him if he was okay, he said, "I've been dreaming of your mother. She stands by the mirror, crying." I didn't answer him. What could I say? The mirror was still locked inside the storeroom. But I knew it wasn't done with us. That same week, weird things started happening. The TV would turn on by itself in the middle of the night, playing only static. Our clock stopped at 3:33 a.m. and wouldn't move until sunrise. I kept waking up with dirt under my nails and bruises on my knees like I had been crawling in my sleep. Ebra started speaking less. Her eyes had dark circles. Sometimes I found her standing in corners of the house, facing the wall like she was listening to something behind it. On the 5th night, I heard a thud in the kitchen. I grabbed my torch and tiptoed out. The kitchen light was off, but the fridge door was wide open. Food was scattered on the floor, bread torn, eggs smashed. I bent down to pick things up. Then I heard a soft laugh. Behind me. I turned, expecting Ebra. But it wasn't her. It was a figure in the hallway. A tall shadow, not touching the floor. Long arms. No face. Just darkness where a face should be. It floated there like it was waiting for me to speak. I blinked once. Gone. I dropped everything and ran back to the room. Ebra was already there. Sitting on my bed. "I saw it too," she said. "What is it?" I asked. She looked down at her lap. "I think I brought something from the mirror. Something that was waiting inside." I felt cold. Waiting for what? For someone to believe in it. She looked up. And I did. After we saw the shadow, things got worse. Birds stopped coming to our compound. Not even lizards ran across the walls. Everything outside was too quiet. Even the neighbors didn't visit anymore. They said our house made them feel sick. That Friday, my dad brought home a native doctor. He didn't tell me or Ebra first. The man just walked in behind him, wearing a red cloth and cowrie necklace. He didn't smile. Didn't greet. He walked straight to the center of our living room and stood still for almost 10 minutes, eyes closed. Then he said something that made my stomach turn. Something has moved in here. And it didn't come alone. He opened a black bag and brought out chalk, a small bell, and a white chicken. Ebra was already shaking. Is it from the mirror? I asked. The man looked at me and nodded once. But the mirror was only the door. The hand that opened it is the real problem. Ebra covered her face. He pointed at her. You caught it. You fed it. I didn't know it would stay, she cried. The man didn't argue. He just said, it wants payment. He told my dad to bring a red goat. Why red? My father asked. Because blood listens faster when it's dressed properly. That evening, they brought a goat with red cloth tied around its neck. It screamed the whole time, like it knew. Like it didn't want to be here. The native doctor did the sacrifice in the backyard. I didn't go. But I heard it. The goat's last cry sounded like a baby. That night, the house was quiet. I thought maybe the ritual worked. Maybe it was over. Then around 2:30 a.m., I heard something outside our window. Hooves. Slow steps. Click. 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 I looked through the curtain. The goat was standing there. Its neck was still tied with the red cloth. But its throat was cut wide open. Blood was pouring, but it was still walking. Still standing. Its eyes were white. Empty. And it was staring straight at our room. I didn't scream. I just closed the curtain and sat on the floor, holding my breath. The next morning, there was no sign of the goat. No blood. No hoof prints. Only a red cloth tied to the door handle. Like it was saying, you can't hide from me. The red cloth stayed on our door for 3 days. Nobody touched it. Ebra refused to sleep in the same room with me anymore. She moved to the sitting room and started muttering to herself again. She barely ate. Her eyes followed things that weren't there. My dad got sick. Bad. He couldn't leave his bed. His skin looked gray, and he said he felt cold all the time, even under a blanket. The native doctor didn't come back. We tried calling his number. Switched off. Everything in the house started smelling like damp charcoal. Then Ebra said something that made my heart stop. There's something in the well. What do you mean? I hear it breathing. Our well was just behind the kitchen window. My mother used to draw water from it every morning. Since she passed, I was the one doing it. But for the last week, the water had smelled funny. Like iron. That evening, I took the bucket and went to see for myself. At first, everything looked normal. I dropped the bucket, waited to hear it splash. It never did. Just silence. Then, a deep knock. From inside the well. I stepped back. Ebra was right. Something was down there. We poured salt around the mouth of the well and covered it with a large plank. My dad helped, even though he could barely stand. That night, nobody slept. At 1:44 a.m., the plank flew off. Not fell. Flew. It crashed against the kitchen wall like someone had thrown it. We ran outside, hearts racing. The well was open. And rising from it, very slowly, was a black hand. Long fingers. Wet. Dripping. Gripping the edge like it was climbing out. I screamed. Ebra started praying, real fast, real loud. Then the hand slid back in. And the well was quiet again. We ran inside, locked the doors, and pushed the table against the back door. Ebra turned to me and said something I'll never forget. It's not just haunting us now. It wants to live here. The last night didn't feel like night. The sky was dark, but the air was hot and heavy. No wind. No sound. Even the crickets were gone. Inside the house, everything felt wrong. The pictures on the wall had turned upside down. The mirrors had cracked on their own. And the clock had stopped again, 3:33 a.m. My dad lay in his bed, mumbling my mother's name over and over. He didn't even notice when his nose started bleeding. His sheets turned red, and he didn't move. I wanted to call someone, uncle, pastor, anybody, but Ebra said something that stopped me. If you call someone, it will follow them. What does it want? I asked. Ebra looked at me, eyes hollow. It wants a home. That was when I knew. It didn't just want to haunt us. It wanted to belong to someone. To stay. To live in a body. Ebra stood up and walked to the door. I tried to stop her, but she didn't even look at me. She said, "It came because of me. I have to end it." "Don't go," I said. "You don't know what it'll do." She turned and gave me a small, tired smile. "I do." Then she opened the door and stepped outside. I waited by the window. It didn't take long. The well started shaking. The ground rumbled. The red cloth on the door caught fire on its own. Then I heard it, her scream. Not like before. This one was short. Then silence. I ran outside. The well was still open. Ebra was gone. Not a drop of blood. Not a sign of struggle. Just gone. The next day, my dad woke up feeling better. His skin looked normal. His eyes were clearer. He asked where Ebra was. I told him she went to stay with her mother's people for a while. He didn't question it. But I knew. She gave herself to it. To stop it from staying. I closed the well myself. Poured concrete over it. I prayed. I fasted. I called a real pastor and told him the house felt off. He came and prayed for the land. I didn't tell him the whole story. I didn't need to. Some nights, I still hear the bucket rope creak. Like something is climbing. But it never does. Ebra hasn't come back. And I don't think she ever will. But sometimes, I still dream of her. In the dream, she stands by the well. Smiling. And behind her, something tall and dark watches me. Waiting. Still waiting for someone to open another door.